Hey teachers, do your students struggle with text features like mine always did? Well, I'm here to empathize with you because I know text features can be such a difficult skill for students to understand. One, there's just so many different text features, it's hard to keep them all straight. And then two, students really don't understand why text features are so important. To them, they're just pretty pictures on the side and they just want to focus on reading the text. So I'm here today to give you some amazing solutions that will help you and your students really understand text features. So before we begin, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos from the See Your Hair Teaching channel. You're not going to want to miss them. All right, friends. So like I said, I've got some tips for you on how to get your students to really understand those tricky nonfiction text features. So the first thing you need to make sure to explain to your students is that text features are very strategic. What that means is they're not just placed anywhere where the author feels like a pretty picture or, this would look cool. This would look really neat here. I want to try to get my, the readers to really like my story. So I'm going to put all these really cool things in it. That's not the way it happens. Students need to understand that text features are very strategic and they give tidbits or pieces of extra information to support the overall understanding of the text itself. And these text features are connected to the text in multiple ways, through headings, through titles, and through the relevant facts that are located within the text itself. When students understand that overall meaning that text features are not just pretty little things to see and look at, and yeah, maybe I want to read one, maybe I don't. When they understand that they're there for a purpose, then students buy into them a little bit more than they did before. So that would be the first thing, the first foundational understanding of text features that I would make sure all of your students have. After that, I love doing this little activity with my kids, and I think they really enjoy it too. So we talk a lot about if they were the author. If they were the author of a nonfiction text, what text features would they want to put in their text to support their readers' understanding? And so when you give the students a nonfiction text that has no text features at all, it really brings the understanding of text features to life. Students understand the connections now between these relevant facts in my text and the text features that I would want to put on the sides of the story to help enhance the students or the reader's understanding. So when they get to be the author and they put themselves in the author's shoes and get to pick the text features themselves, then it just clicks. It really comes to life for the students. They enjoy the activity, but all in all, they're really just truly understanding the purpose and the why behind these nonfiction text features. So that would be another really unique angle that I would take on my discussion with my students with text features. Another great tip, and this is one that I don't think teachers utilize enough, and it really helps bring not one, but two nonfiction skills together and connect them. And not only does it help students understand text features, but it helps them understand text structure. So have you ever taught those two together at the same time? It really does work, and one supports the other. So listen to this. If I said, okay, we're going to read a nonfiction text, and it is going to be written in the text structure of sequential or sequence. What text feature do you think we most likely will see in that text? Timeline, right? Timelines immediately come to my mind when I think sequential text structure. Those two things, they just make sense together, okay? What if I said we're going to be reading a text with descriptive text structure? What text features could we use there? Well, immediately comes to mind, photographs are very descriptive. Diagrams are extremely descriptive, and captions help describe the photographs as well. So you can continue on this conversation and almost even do like a sorting activity where students are matching text features to the text structures that they relate to the most. And it really helps understand more about the why behind the text features, but it also helps students understand the text structure on a more foundational level as well. So that's another little tip that I have picked up on that I really think enhances the students' overall understanding, not just of structure and features, but just nonfiction overall. Another conversation that I think really needs to happen when you're discussing nonfiction text features is, where does the information come from? We hound our students night and day that they have to go back to the text and find evidence. We do this with no matter what genre the students are reading. But what this does is it drills into students that the information that's important comes from the text. So then when we throw these text features at them that are technically not in the text itself, unless of course it's a bold or italicized word. Yes, I know there are exceptions. However, the majority of the text features will be found outside of the main text. So when we ask students to go back to the text in a nonfiction text and find evidence or answers, potentially they could be avoiding a lot of information that is located in the nonfiction text features, and when they're only focusing on the text itself. So that's why this is a really important conversation. Where does the information come from? So we like to play a game called text or feature. And basically what it is I will give them a text that has lots of different text features in it, and of course the actual text itself. And I will ask them a question. It's not a complex question. That's not the point of this. But the point of this activity is for them to go back through, not only look through the text itself, but also all of the different features. And then I don't care what the answer is. I'm more so trying to get them to understand, where does the information come from? Is the answer in the text, or is the answer in a feature? And so when I ask the students the question, they respond with either the word text or feature, and then they bring their text up to the document camera and they have to prove their answer. So it's just a really unique, again, a unique angle and a way to discuss text features that really supports not just their understanding, but this one really supports more of the movement of them going back and looking at these text features and knowing that they hold valuable information. So that is another really big tip that I would love to pass on. And then my final little tidbit here, but don't go, because I have some little strategies that I want to leave with you before we leave today. But my last little tip is to make sure that you're really focusing on characteristics of text features. So we really drill text features into our students. And more so when we do this, we're trying to get our students to identify the name of the text feature. So if I show them an image, they better be able to tell me that's a map, that's a graph, that's a diagram, right? I want them to know by sight what these different text features are. However, really we need to take that to another level. I don't want my students just to be able to identify these text features by sight. I want my students to be able to identify these text features by characteristics. So without giving them an image, if I said this text feature has an image, it has lines or arrows with labels that give detail about the different parts of the image, right? I've given little characteristics, label, arrows, image. Those are characteristics of a diagram, right? I could also give characteristics of a chart. A chart has horizontal and vertical lines. There are different sections. There are labels on the side and the bottom. There's typically a title. There may be different colors throughout or symbols. These are all characteristics of a chart or a graph. So can your students identify text features not just by sight, but do they really understand the details in how these text features are designed and put together? That's going to help them really understand when authors really throw a very unique graph or a very unique diagram at them that's very different from all the typical diagrams that they're used to seeing. And they still know that it's a diagram because they understand the characteristics of the text feature, not just the text feature itself. Okay. All right. So just a little some specific strategies that I want to give you when you are teaching nonfiction text features. One thing you want to make sure you do is when you are reading nonfiction, whether you're teaching text features or not, make sure that you're pre-reading the text. And pre-reading the text helps build schema. It helps activate background knowledge. It helps give an overview of some vocabulary that students might need to know. But it also allows students to scan important text features to help support all of those other pieces as well. So text features is a great component to focus on when you're pre-scanning the text before you read. Another thing is focus on reading the text features individually, right? What information can you pull just from each text feature? So you may do a read of a text and only read the text features and see what discussion or what information you learned just by reading the features. Another strategy is try having students complete the text feature on their own. So what I really like doing is I'll find a text or a book that has a really strong text feature. And when I go to make a photocopy of it, I'll put a sticky note over like part of the text feature. So if it's a chart, they can see half and maybe the bottom half is covered up. If it's a diagram, maybe I cover up a few of the labels. And so what they have to do is they have to use the knowledge and information from the text itself to see if they can complete the information in the text feature. Now, the catch to this is sometimes they can and sometimes they cannot. So this brings up a great discussion of why it's so important to read the information in the text features, because they are sometimes more often than not, giving us extra information that's not even found in the text itself. So it just really helps reiterate that. Another really big strategy is focus on that why. Why is this text feature being used? Why did the author put this here? That's a fantastic question to ask every time you see a text feature. Just get into that habit. Whether you're teaching them or not, if you're focusing on a completely different skill and you come across a text feature, ask the question, why is this text feature here? What is it doing to help readers understand this concept even more, okay? And then my last strategy that I'm going to leave you with today is allow the students to choose the text features. Give them a blank nonfiction text that has nothing and see if they can come up with the text features that they would best use and justify why. It's an amazing strategy, a great activity, and you'll really love the creativity that the students come up with. So friends, text features do not have to be hard, I promise. Make sure to click that See More button below. That'll take you to the full blog post if you want to read more. And if you are looking for text feature activities, I've got a lot of them. Again, make sure to click that See More button below and you'll have all the links there that you possibly need for more information about text features. But before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll chat soon. Thanks so much, friends. I'll see you later. Bye, everyone.